Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will teach you 20 pairs of English words you need to stop confusing today, part 3. Mixing up similar sounding words might not be an issue when you're speaking English, but when you're writing the words, the mistakes can be easily noticed. English is a very confusing language. Mixing up similar sounding words might not be an issue when you're speaking English, but when you're writing the words, the mistakes can be easily noticed. One letter or one space can make all the difference in this language. Your vocabulary will be better equipped if you understand the subtle differences in these pairs of similar sounding words. So without any further delay, let's look at the 20 pairs of English words you need to stop confusing today. So the first pair is concurrent and consecutive. Concurrent meaning simultaneous or occurring at the same time. Let's look at the example. He was given two concurrent jail sentences of 3 years. Consecutive meaning successive or following one after the other. Let's look at the example. This is a 28th consecutive day of rain. Let's look at a second pair of words, persuade and convince. Persuade meaning force someone to do something through reasoning or argument. Let's look at the example. Now I'll try to persuade you. Convince meaning cause someone to believe firmly in the truth of something. Let's look at the example. He convinced me that the story was true. Let's look at a third pair, connote and denote. Connote meaning to imply or suggest. Let's look at the example. The word food may connote greed. Denote meaning to indicate or specifically refer to something. Let's look at the example. The flashing lights denote dangerous roads ahead. Let's look at a fourth pair of words, illicit and illicit. Illicit meaning to draw out. Let's look at the example. It is important to elicit a suitable response from the children for each assembly. Illicit meaning unlawful. Let's look at the example. This is not an illicit money. Let's look at a fifth pair of words, emigrant and immigrant. Emigrant meaning one who loves one's native country to settle in another. Let's look at the example. His grandfather was an immigrant from Scotland. Immigrant meaning one who enters and settles in a new country. Let's look at the example. The city has a large immigrant population. Let's look at a sixth pair of words, literally and figuratively. Literally meaning actually or referring to the exact meaning of words. Let's look at the example. He took her comments literally. Figuratively meaning metaphorically or symbolically. Let's look at the example. Don't be scared. When I said I wanted to kill you, I was speaking figuratively. Let's look at a seventh pair, flammable and inflammable. Flammable meaning that which can be easily set on fire. Let's look at the example. Flammable liquids should never be used in a fireplace. Inflammable meaning highly flammable and it's a synonym of flammable. Let's look at the example. Its vapor is spontaneously inflammable when exposed to air. Let's look at the eighth pair, flaunt and flout. Flaunt meaning to show off shamelessly. Let's look at the example. She was flaunting her new fur coat. They openly flaunted the rules. Flout meaning to show scorn or contempt for. Let's look at the example. Some companies flout the rules and employ children as young as 7. Let's look at a ninth pair, lend and loan. Lend meaning to bestow quality on or give something to someone with the expectation of getting it back. Let's look at the example. I'll lend you one if you wish. Loan meaning a temporary provision of money, usually at interest or an object. Let's look at the example. She needed money, so she asked her friend for a loan. Let's look at a 10th pair, precede and proceed. Precede meaning to come before. Let's look at the example. The rain was preceded by wind. Lightning precedes thunder. Proceed meaning to move forward. Let's look at the example. Let's proceed. Let's look at an 11th pair, accept and accept. Accept meaning to receive. Let's look at the example. Give her little time to accept the idea. Accept meaning with the exclusion of. Let's look at the example. She told everyone except me. Let's look at a 12th pair of words, device and device. Device meaning a plan or a tool or utensil, and this is a noun. Let's look at the example. The retention of data in a storage device. Device meaning to create, and this is a verb. Let's look at the example. I prefer to use this app because it allows me to devise my own music playlists. Let's look at a 14th pair of words, wine and wine. Wine meaning wine is an alcoholic drink made from fermented grape juice. Let's look at the example. I love Australian wines, especially the white wines. Whine meaning the whine is a long, high-pitched complaining cry. Whimper cry. The whine means to complain in an immature and childish way. Let's look at the example. The whine of Lisa's hairdryer wakes me every morning. Let's look at a 15th pair of words, envelope and envelope. Envelope meaning container for a letter, and this is a noun. Let's look at the example. He pulled an envelope from his pocket. Envelope meaning to surround, and this is a verb. Let's look at the example. The warmth from him seemed to envelop her like the comforting heat of the sun. Let's look at a 16th pair of words, appraise and appraise. Appraise meaning to set a value on something. Let's look at the example. She walked around the side of the house to appraise the damage. Apprise meaning to inform. Let's look at the example. Please apprise me of any changes to the document before publication. Let's look at a 17th pair of words, vein and vein. Vein meaning a vein is a small tube inside your body that takes blood back to the heart. Let's look at the example. I could feel the blood flowing through my veins. Vein meaning the word vain can describe someone who is very proud of or obsessed with their own appearance. It also means self-obsessed. Let's look at the example. I tried in vain to start a conversation. Let's look at our 18th pair, cell and cell. Cell meaning a cell is a small room in which a prisoner is locked up. A cell is also considered as the smallest structural and function unit of an organism. Let's look at the example. Breaking a cell is difficult for almost every prisoner. Sell meaning sell means to exchange a product or service for money. Let's look at the example. I am thinking to sell my flat for the better deal. Let's look at a 19th pair, chili and chili. Chili meaning chili is a small spicy pepper or pod of a variety of capsicum used in cooking. It is also called as chili pepper, and this is a noun. Let's look at the example. I ordered the Mexican hot pizza but couldn't eat the chili on top. Chilly. Chilly means feeling cold. Let's look at the example. It's a little chilly outside. Don't forget to wear your coat. Let's look at a last pair of words, deer and deer. Deer meaning deer is a hoof grazing animal with branched bony antlers that are shed annually and typically borne only by the male. Let's look at the example. Animals like deer were an important source of food for early humans. Deer meaning deer is used for the beloved person. Let's look at the example. Hey dear, are you okay now? So friends, I hope you enjoyed this English lesson series and learned a lot. So you can continue studying with me by subscribing to my channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to get the notification for my upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.